Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Tim Meyer, here for the Romeo Sports Recap, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. And before we begin, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. I'm here with girls varsity competitive cheer coach, Jacqueline Delamolier. And welcome to the show, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Tell us, how did you get involved with competitive cheer?
I started coaching right after high school. I graduated from Romeo High School in 2001 and started coaching JV right after that. And at that time, we did have sideline and competitive, so I've been doing both since then, pretty much. Started just based on cheering at Romeo, my love for the sport, and then that transitioned completely into a lifestyle, really.
Yeah. And what is the difference between cheerleading in the fall, line cheerleading or whatever you call it, sideline cheerleading, and competitive cheer? What are the differences between the two?
Well, sideline is not part of the MHSAA. It's not technically an MHSAA sport in the fall. It's more or less, it's considered a club, although our athletes do practice almost every day still. But our focus during the fall is really, we attend football games every Friday. On occasion, we will attend other sports here and there. And really, it's to be leaders within the school if we can, kind of help school spirit in any way we can. And while we are, doing games and practicing for that, it's also to get ready for competitive season. So we can't do any choreography or make our routines or anything in the fall. But the skills that we teach them, the gymnastics, the stunting, the jumps, all of that, that's really when we're trying to build those skills and perfect them. And then during competitive, we actually make up the routines, and that's when we start going to competition.
And are these the same girls in competitive cheer as are on the sideline? I mean, they just transition to competitive cheer, or how does that work? You have new girls or what?
Well, we have tryouts, so it can be technically it can be a whole two different sets of kids if that's how it worked out. But typically, I would say about 95 to 100%, depending on the year, is the same athletes. We do have, there are some athletes that just do sideline. We've had a couple here and there, and we welcome and encourage that. Competitive's not for everyone. It's a much bigger commitment. It's a little bit more stressful during competitive season. So typically, we have a little bit smaller numbers for competitive season than we do sideline, just because it's a little bit harder and the time commitment's greater.
And training for competitive cheer, is it about the same as what you do for sideline?
It's really one and the same. It's hard to separate the skills. Everything we do at games, for the most part, are things we're going to be doing at competition. It's against MHSAA regulations to create any of your material prior to that first tryout week. But essentially, it's the same. It's interesting because we're really the only sport that has two seasons. And really, when it's most of the time, it's 95% of the same kids and it's always the same coaches, it really feels like a two-season sport. And that adds an interesting dynamic to our sport. The seniors that I've had since their freshman year, one of them sitting right over there, she has been with me for 8 seasons. That's a long time to be with a group of kids. So,
it's like your own kids.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Yeah, my own kids know most of the kids on our team just as well as they, know kids in their neighborhood or at their school. I mean, it's really part of our family. So really, there's no separation of skills. You kind of build the season, around competitive season and building up to that. That's the main focus.
So if I want to go out for the team,
that's a scary thought in itself. But what does it take to get to make the team?
Well, it changes from year to year. It depends on, the athletes that are trying out and the number of spots that we have available. Typically on the varsity team, we like to see, in order to be in round 2 and round 3, typically at least a standing back tuck, which is a pretty high level gymnastics skill.
Standing back tuck.
Back tuck, yes. So basically,
get traction for weeks if I try.
Yeah, I don't recommend it, but basically a back handspring with no hand. So we try and shoot for that, because that, if you are going to be in our second round, round 2, you have to have at least a standing back tuck to be in that round. We do have athletes that don't have a standing back tuck, and that means they're bringing other skills to the table, whether that's being really great at their stunting position. They may be really great at round 1, which entails more having really great jumps and having really great leadership skills and presence. So as far as skill level goes, great jumps, standing back tuck, back handspring, that's what we shoot for.
Okay. What kind of you said these kids for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what kind of coaching style do you have when you know them? I mean, are you like a mother to them, or are you like your husband coach, a rough disciplinarian, or what are you?
Well, you're going to have to ask them that, I think. I've coached, right now we co-coach, Coach Reines and I. We coach together, and that in itself adds a different dynamic to your coaching style, being with someone else. And we kind of each take on our own roles. We have our own sort of responsibilities within the mix. We share things. And so because of that, I think that changes your coaching style too, because you have to kind of play off each other's coaching styles. But I would say, if you ask them, I would probably say I might be a little bit tougher of the two. I don't know. Maybe they have a totally different opinion.
Well, we'll wait till you leave the studio.
I'll leave, and then they can tell you. But I would like to think firm but kind. That's what I shoot for.
Okay. We talked a little bit about routines. Okay. And, and I've watched some competitive cheer on television. And then I've also watched, big dance companies. Mm-hmm. And it's very similar, but I don't know. I think the difference is probably the jumping and holding, more mm-hmm. strength, show off a little bit more strength than the.
Yeah. So, dance, there are some elements that are the same, the performance factor, just the setup of performing in front of people. That's similar. We stunt, dance is getting, you'll see at some of the national competitions, dance is starting to do a little bit more of their own style of stunting, if you will, a little bit more gymnastics. And the inverse, back when we used to go to nationals, which we haven't been able to do since 2006, but, cheer teams would mostly stunt and tumble, but then have a little bit of dance in there too. So, we each share a little bit of that aspect, and we both have a great respect for, one another's sport. But yeah, I'd say the stunting and the tumbling for the most part.
Mm-hmm. And this year's team, how would you describe this year's team compared to all the other teams that you coached, and sort of their style or their sort of personality as a team? How would you describe them?
Well, I've been coaching now for, I think this is my 20th year. So I've had a lot of teams, times that by 2 seasons. That's a lot of kids to compare them to. And I have to say, this group definitely stands out amongst all those teams. They are one of the best we've had. Skill-wise, it's some of the best skill level we've had overall. Most importantly, though, the strength of their character overall, is amazing. We have really tremendous leadership on this team. We choose not to elect captains. We believe that, leaders will develop, on their own. And if people want to lead.
So you don't need to name somebody a captain
no.
to be a leader, but a leader will just kind of sort of cream rising to the top.
Yeah. And there's different types of leaders too. So, there's leaders that are going to be more vocal and are going to take more of those traditional captain's roles. But, there's other types of leadership among the team too, and we need people to fulfill those roles. And so we believe that, if athletes, want to be successful in their sport, leaders are going to emerge on their own. And so I just think this year, this team, more than any other team, I think overall shows a tremendous amount of leadership. Both we have an amazing group of seniors that shows a lot of very traditional leadership. They really take care of the team. They make sure the team's doing what they need to do. They fulfill those really traditional captain's roles. But, overall, we have a lot of great underclassmen too that show a lot of leadership in a lot of other ways. We've all said this. I know the athletes have said this at our last competition on Saturday. We all said, this is one of the first years where every single time we came to practice, we were excited for it and looking forward to it. When you coach almost the entire year,
I hate to practice anything.
It's hard. I mean, doing anything for, two seasons. I mean, athletes that in other sports that are 2-season athletes or 3-season athletes, it's hard to continue that level of stamina. And sometimes it makes it a little bit harder when you're doing the same sport with the same coaches and the same people for 2 seasons in a row. That can be taxing and stressful. And so I think it's a pretty big compliment to the team that, every single day from, the time from summer practices all the way up until this week, I mean, really going to practice every day was fun and you felt good about it. And we're going to remember this team forever because of that alone.
Good. And this team itself, how did it do this season in competition?
They did amazing. They had their highest finish in districts. So they were district runner-up. We missed the district top spot by only a couple of points, but that's the best point spread we've ever had at districts.
Now, is that judged by a panel of judges?
Yeah. So there's a district.
So was there a Russian judge in there?
There wasn't. There was there's 3 panel judges and 2 safety judges. So 5 judges. So we were really proud of how we did at districts. The top 4 make it out to regionals. So we were second. And then at regionals this past Saturday, they did amazing. There are 12 teams there. They got 7th place, which for some people that don't know the setup, the sport may sound, like maybe we were unhappy with that place, and it couldn't be further from the truth. 7th place, even though we were 7th place, we were only 3 points overall away from moving on to state finals. You have to be top 4. And so the 4th place through 7th place teams were all within 3 points of each other.
Well, it sounded like you had tremendous competition.
Yeah. I mean, we have a tough region. We competed against a lot of really great teams, and the point spread all the way down to 7th place being only, between 6th and 7th was, less than a point difference. So for these kids to be only 3 points away, making it to being the top 8 in the state, I mean, we could not be more proud of them. We had, in years past, we had finished 7th, 8th at regionals, but those point spreads were between 20 and 40 points away from actually making it to state finals. So sometimes in cheer, the place doesn't always tell the full story just because you compete against so many teams all at once. The point spread between, our score and the team that made it to state finals, that really shows where our kids are at. And 3 points is something we are never going to forget, and we're extremely proud of them for.
And so, I mean, did you expect that from this team at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, we did. We knew they were going to be special from the time, there's a lot of kids that we've had in this program since they were freshmen. And I have to say, I remember Coach Reines and I talking about how these kids, their senior year, it's going to be a special one, whatever that meant. We just knew it was going to be a good year. And so they surpassed our expectations, as athletes and both just as people watching them grow. I mean, we knew this was always going to be a special year, and we're really proud of them.
Well, I got to ask you too, and I want you to think about this, but there's got to be one moment in the year maybe two, that you'll always remember about this team? Is there anything like individually significant? Somebody maybe that cheered over an injury or something like that? I mean, is there anything that you can think of that would you would probably put it in that category? Yeah, I'm going to remember that for a long, long time.
Well, I can say this now because we're done competing, but this was our first injury-free season, unless it was something.
No need to knock on wood.
I mean that's rare in cheer. There's always little things here and there, but we didn't have any of that, and I'm proud of these kids just for that. They're a strong group. But yeah, I mean, there was, as a team, I think one of the best moments was probably when they came off the mat at our home comp. It was really the first time they really hit their third round together. It was a big moment for them. It was home in front of, all our fans. And just honestly, watching them celebrate with each other and not caring about the place, not caring about the point spread. We ended up coming, second by just a few points to Dakota, who was the fifth place team in the other region. They weren't even really upset about it. And our kids really, they don't like to lose. So to say that is a big deal. But to watch them celebrate with each other and just know what was important that day and realizing like this team is special, we did this together, and just all being happy together, it was an amazing moment.
Oh, that's great. That'll be a great moment then for you to remember about this year's team anyway. So your husband is the coach of the baseball team, Coach D, and you said your nickname is?
Well, he's Coach D Senior.
Coach D Senior.
I'm younger, so I'm
Is
Coach
he older
D
than
Junior.
you?
He is. Oh, you seem surprised, but he's definitely older, so he's the senior.
And how's he faring here? He's probably getting ready for baseball, huh?
Yeah, it's coming up quick, first week of March. Yeah. So he's getting ready. His preseason kind of overlaps our season, so it's a busy time for us. But hoping that he has a good season, because when we have good sports seasons in our house, it's always a lot
easier
for everyone involved.
Well, one final question. Next year, how do we look for next year? I mean, from right now, I know you can't say how it's going to be.
No, I think we can. I mean, honestly, we're losing a lot of really amazing seniors. Like we told them, kids can't be replaced. You can replace skills. You can't replace the kids. And we're losing a lot of really strong leaders and athletes. But I really believe that the mark of truly a good athlete, a good leader, is that when they leave, will the team do better than they did the year that they left? And I really believe that they will. Because of them, because the way that, the example that they set, the motivation they set, everyone that they leave behind, I know is going to want to fight harder to make it to state finals next year for them and for everyone they're out on the mat with. And as well, I mean, we have an amazing JV team. We had a huge JV team during sideline season, had about 35 kids. So
I saw them.
Yeah. And then we have a huge middle school program too. We have amazing coaches at the middle school level. We had a 7th and 8th grade team and a huge 6th grade team. And those kids are amazing. Our 7th and 8th grade team won their final competition at Oxford. 6th grade took second place. I mean, we really have a lot of talent coming up, both with the athletes and our coaching staff below us. We're really, really lucky to have that.
Well, Coach Delamelir, I appreciate you coming on the show today and really giving a very insightful take on the competitive cheer team this year and how it works and everything like that. So best of luck to you next year in the future.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Before we continue here on the Romeo Sports Recap Show, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Romeo Sports Recap Show, and I'm here with competitive cheerleaders Brooklyn Robinson, Angelina Trentacosti, and Emma Gangola. Yeah, see, I got it right. Pretty good. And now, Brooklyn and Angelina. But you go by Angelina?
Mm-hmm.
The waitress at the pizzeria? Oh. You guys are both juniors.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And Emma, you're a senior this year. So I ask you, what was it like in your senior season on this competitive cheer team, this team?
This year it was a lot more fun than any other year. It's always fun to be with your friends all the time, but this year the team really bonded and it was really fun to go to practice every day.
And how did you get started in competitive cheer, and when did you get started?
I started cheering when I was in 5th grade, and I used to be a dancer, and I just wanted to try out cheerleading, and I did it all throughout middle school. And then when I went to Romeo for high school, I decided to try out, and I've been here for the past 4 years.
Now, you said you were a dancer. That means you must have rhythm, right?
I don't know.
Because I don't. I got I have like 5 left feet. It's just not good. But you do seem to have pretty good rhythm, pick it up pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, like there's some people that are like good painters, but I got to paint with little numbers in the thing. Otherwise, I'll screw up the whole thing. Brooklyn, how did you get started in cheerleading?
Well, my freshman year, I was at a whole different school in a whole different district, and I had gotten.
Where was that at?
I was at Troy Athens
Okay.
before I came here.
Okay.
And I started on their competitive team because my friend was like, "You should just try it out." And I started. I started it, and I loved it way more than I've been loving it already. And when I came to Romeo, I thought I was too late to go on the sideline team, and I was able to, and I've just been here since then.
What's the best part that you like about it?
I don't even know.
I mean,
feel like
there could be like 5 things, rank them 1 to 5.
I feel like just everything all together, like knowing that you have people that you know you've like bonded with for life. That's like a really big part of it. Like I know like my
What, you
team
girls
has
didn't
been,
fight?
No. I feel like we've actually like this season especially, I feel like we've just become like a family, and we've just had each other's backs, and we've just grown to just love each other like sisters.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's the best part.
And Angelina, how did you get started getting into cheerleading, and when did you start?
Okay, I was in 8th grade, and a great opportunity came up to try out for Romeo's Junior Bulldogs. And at the time, I was into volleyball, and I just took the chance, and then I ended up loving it.
Do you still play volleyball or no?
No,
This
I
is
gave
the
it up
only
for
sport? Yeah, it's the only sport that you play.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of things can you say about this year's team and why you like it this year?
I feel like we all like bonded, and like we just like, I don't know, we all clicked, and it was just like, it was great watching the team like just like be so happy and like win a lot of like the scores, like gain the higher scores, and like just seeing all their faces.
And Coach mentioned about a memory that she would have for forever and ever until she loses her memory. But in competition, and you guys, how well you did, sort of, I think she says you hit it, which means I suppose everything was well coordinated and just worked like a machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that was from? What caused that to be just all of you girls at once, coming together like that?
I think it has to do with like everyone on the team like putting in 100% effort and like trusting each other to do everyone's jobs, and then like realizing like all your hard work paid off and you did amazing with all your friends.
Now, when you guys get the routines from the coaches, how long does it take for you to pick up on it and to really get it going good?
I think it depends because a lot of times like they'll move people around, so you'll have to learn like a completely different routine sometimes. Some people learn faster than others. Like I know I'm like able to pick up stuff pretty fast, but some other people on the team like have like struggle with that more.
Do you help them a little bit with that?
Yeah, we all help each other and we try to critique each other and give corrective criticism.
Gosh, I was hoping you'd tell me there's one girl on the team that nobody can stand, and but it doesn't seem to be like that, right, Brooklyn?
No, actually, the team is just like, I don't know. You love everybody, and I feel like there's nobody that's like left out or like everybody's just.
It's a team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a team. You're part of the team, and everybody gets along well. And Angelina, tell me a little bit about maybe what is difficult for you to do. What maneuvers do you have that you're good at, and B, that are difficult for you to do?
Like skill wise?
Yeah, like a back. What is it?
A back tuck.
A back tuck.
Yeah, no. I kind of struggle in the tumbling area. I do go to like private lessons and stuff to help me, but yeah.
Would you say that?
I'm really strong at back spot.
Yeah. Do you really think that you can tell the difference how you've improved from the beginning of the year to the end with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to do, Brooklyn?
My favorite thing to do would either be to do a jump or one of my tumbling skills.
And Emma, how about you?
I think my favorite thing is stunting, just to like see the growth like from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, what we can do. And it takes more than one person to like be able to do a good stunt. So it's interesting to see like the things you can do when you put us together.
So, Brooklyn, when you're not doing cheer or thinking about cheer or hanging out with your friends, what does Brooklyn Robinson like to do besides competitive cheer?
That's crazy because cheer is like literally my life. Like that's all I do is I watch cheer, or I may like decide to like read a book or something, but like it's either I hang out with my friends that I've met through cheer and we still end up talking about cheer either way, or I go home and I'm laying in my bed and I'm scrolling through Instagram looking at cheer and ways like things that we can do next season and like flary showy things that we can just always just go on. But
and next season, how you got you and Angelina will be back next year. What do you guys expect from next year's team?
I think next year's team is going to be really good just because of the foundation that we already have. Like all of us as a team have already realized that this team is something special and that this team is actually like it's set the path for all the next teams, no matter where we go or if we come back or if we choose to leave. Like this team has we're going to grow from this. It's just going to just keep growing and being better.
And Angelina, what does Angelina like to do when Angelina's not doing cheerleading?
That's kind of hard. I don't really know.
You don't have any other ideas? You don't have a boyfriend or something you like to hang out with? No boyfriends? Okay, well, we'll have to talk to the football players next year. Maybe there'll be somebody there we can help you out with. But what do you think about next year's team?
I feel like we have a really strong like set, and we're just gonna get better from here.
And do you know any of the younger kids that are coming up?
Like from middle school?
We know of one.
I mean that's pretty good that you think's gonna really fit in well. And
we have one. She's an 8th grader, incoming freshman. We think she's really good. We think she might be pulled up next year for varsity from sideline season.
Yeah.
And Emma, what are you doing after cheerleading, or when you're not cheerleading? What are you doing? And then what are your plans after this year?
Right now I'm just working now that cheer's over, and I'm still doing some cheer stuff because I hope to cheer at Michigan State next year in college. So that'll be interesting to see.
That'll be fun because I like to watch the games and stuff. You're gonna think about the football team cheering out there, or how does it work in college? Is it two different teams? Or?
Yeah, there's a all-girl team, which is similar to like what you do in high school, and then there's a co-ed team, which is I would be a flyer on the co-ed team. which is what I want to do because they cheer for the football games and stuff, and that's like mainly what I
And you
want
can
to
fly.
do. Yeah.
You're like Peter Pan. She can fly. What field of study do you think you're going to take up when you go to MSU?
I'm hoping business marketing, but other than that,
Just
I
got to
don't
get
really
there
know.
first, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Ladies, I appreciate you stopping by and giving us some better insight into what it's like to be a Romeo varsity cheerleader and the competitive cheer. If you could give the people out there, some of the kids that may watch, what advice would you give them about coming out for competitive cheer?
I would say just try it because when I first wanted to try it, I was a lot younger. But even like if it's your senior year and you've never done it and you want to try it, I'd say go for it because even if like you don't think you're that good, it's still like a great experience to like be on the team and meet everybody and bond with the teammates and the coaches.
No matter the skills that you get, you're still going to be on a team, so it's it's always worth the experience.
Yeah, it'll be an experience you'll never forget.
That's great. And we'll be back with more of the Romeo Sports Recap Show right after this.
Before we continue, here on the Romeo Sports Recap Show, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Romeo Sports Recap Show. Let's recap some of the recent sports things that have been going on in Romeo just recently in Romeo Sports anyway. The boys varsity basketball team played in the districts and they lost their game to Rochester 51-49 in overtime. That would end their season for the year. They were 8-15 on the year. A rough year, but they did have some injuries, especially the point guard Tag. He was out for a while, and that kind of threw him off a bit. But they came back at the end of the season, looked like they were peaking pretty well, but had that tough loss against Rochester in the districts. Romeo boys varsity hockey team won their first district match against the Utica Eisenhower Eagles. And they had goals by Brody Meyer, Alessandro Evangelista, Lincoln Lepesiak, and Drew Basha, who scored on a tremendous wrist shot. It was kind of reminded me of the old days with Mickey Redmond. But anyway, they advance, and they'll play Chippewa Valley United team here coming up shortly here to get into the regional. So good job by the varsity hockey team. They're doing well this year. The Romeo varsity wrestling team, we'll have them on here. They have a few guys that are going to make it to states and will be wrestling for individual state championships. And we'll have a conversation with Coach Jim Kelly about that a little bit later. Romeo girls basketball team is doing really well, just as good as the hockey. They're 17-6, and they won their last game against Grosse Pointe South. But they're getting good performances by Jackie LeBlanc, Maya Mushing, and Emily Reynolds, a steady senior, and good play of late by Ava Mosley. And, of course, they have the super freshman, Layla Babbage. She's a tremendous talent, and she'll be around for a while for Romeo girls basketball. And we move over to the Romeo bowling team. And the Romeo bowling team, this is important, they have two bowlers that are going to go to the state finals, Cameron Hill and Madeline Raska. And I'm very proud of them. The girls team and the guys team finished top in their division. They were tops. They were tough to beat all year long. And congratulations to them, all the team bowlers, for a fine season. So that's Madeline Raska, Cameron Hill going to go to the state finals. That'll be great. The Romeo swim team, they finished fourth in the MAC Blue. One bright spot for them was Connor Stone was able to win the 50-yard freestyle event. And Romeo took first place in the 200 medley relay. Anton Shamali finished third in the 400 breaststroke final. So the swim team, they need a diver. So if you know anybody that has some gymnastic background, they need some divers on the team, could help them tremendously for next year. But a good season overall for especially Connor Stone. And that's it. That's the recap for this week.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this episode of the Romeo Sports Recap Show, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. You can subscribe to the Mitt TV YouTube page and click the notification bell to stay up to date on the latest episodes of the Romeo Sports Recap. Or you can find us on Spotify and follow our podcast, Romeo Sports Recap. From the Mitt TV, I'm Tim Meyer, signing off with a final word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.